Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. We're in our guest segment, and this morning we have our favorite guests. They come in once a month, and they're from Independent Living. And this morning we've got Sandy in, the director of Independent Healthcare and Physical Therapists for Independent Living. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you back on the show. Last time we visited, we were out and about learning some tips, so nice to have you here in studio.
It's great to be here.
Appreciate it. So this morning, we are going to be talking a little bit about assistive devices, so I'll just go right into it. What are assistive devices for mobility?
Assistive device is something that's going to help you move, obviously mobility. Assistive device could be considered a wheelchair where you propel or someone helps you. The main focus today is more canes and walkers, and just kind of helps you get around a little better and a little safer.
So I think the big question is, how do you decide what device works for you? And this is a loaded question.
Oh, sure. That's a good question. I guess it really depends on how much help you need. If you just have a little trouble with balance and occasionally take a misstep, maybe just a simple cane just like this would be very appropriate for you. If you're someone that has a little more challenges with mobility, you want something a little more sturdier like a walker. And
yeah, we've got one up front here, just a simple one, nice one that folds up, get you places. Sometimes you have the ones with wheels as well, the wheels and the brakes and stuff.
Yep,
and
that's
a seat.
True. Yep, those are great for people who don't need too much support, and then they can also have. It has a chair in it too that you could, if you need a rest, you can just kind of park it, lock the brakes, and have a seat and take a rest.
And two, what about injury as well? So if you're kind of like coming off crutches or something along those lines, throwing kind of a side question there at you.
Okay, usually it kind of depends on how athletic you are. I usually save the crutches for the younger crowd. You need a lot of core strength and a lot of balance to use crutches. Usually 50 and above, we stick with the walker, gives you a lot of stability.
Perfect. And true, if you're not comfortable with a specific device or having issues, what's your recommendation on that front? So maybe you're using the cane and you're like, this is just way too wobbly, but yet the walkers had too many issues. What are some suggestions there that you would give folks?
You could go to a quad cane that has a sturdier base, so it's kind of like a bridge between a walker and a single point cane. The downside is it will slow you down. The single point cane is probably the quickest way to get around. The 4-point walker is probably the slowest.
Gotcha. And then let's talk about if you're considering buying or having a pre-owned device versus something new. What's some considerations there?
I see that a lot of times. Somebody in the family has an assistive device. They don't use it for a while. It goes in the garage, and then someone else in the family needs it, or extended family neighborhood, and then they get it. And usually the problem is the proper fit. And a lot of times the fit is based on height. I'll see someone who had a cane who was 6'2", and they're giving it to someone else who's about 5'1". So fortunately, most of them are adjustable. All you have to do is just push your little button here, and you can make it shorter or longer as you want to go. The main thing when you're getting it to fit, you want the top of the cane to be level where your hand would be with your wrist when you are standing with your arm resting down at your side, and that usually universal. It gives your arm, when you're holding on to it, about a 45-degree angle, which is what you want at your elbow when you're holding the assistive device.
Gotcha. So it gets a little bit better balance on that front.
And it keeps the rest of your posture in line. If it's too high for you, you're going to be using the wrong muscles. You'll shrug up your shoulders. That could give you some back and neck pain. If it's too low for you, that's going to cause you to lean forward, and that can cause other problems too.
Perfect. What about putting on with the tennis balls? Sometimes you see tennis balls put on walkers or something. What's the benefit to that?
Those are a great idea. It helps decrease the friction, and they will slide along the floors much better. Usually they have a rubber bottom, which can kind of grip. It's not as much of a problem on carpeting as it is, but a lot of people have their nice wood and tile floors.
Gotcha.
And also the tennis ball kind of helps protect the floors too.
Oh,
You know,
there
if you have
is
this
that.
beautiful floor and someone comes in with their walker and they make all these marks on your floor, you're not going to be happy.
Gotcha. Let's talk about, is there any special way to walk or move when using assistive devices? So you kind of mentioned the way of using the cane here, but other devices.
There's different kind of gaits, and it really depends on how much support you need. We kind of divide it up into points. Like for you, just walking, that would be considered a 2-point gait. Now, if I was to walk with a single cane, I would be more of a 3-point gait because we've got more and more point. And usually people would take the cane first and then move the opposite leg and then move the other leg. And so it's kind of turns the gait into 3-point. With the walker, sometimes you see people, they just kind of push and move. It kind of depends on how much support they need.
And just because you go on a walker doesn't mean, or even a cane, you should sometimes, I'm sure from the physical therapy side of things, you know, that should assist you. And sometimes you could probably dump that if you get better. Maybe it's a temporary a device, right?
Exactly, especially if it's used, you got a little knee pain, bothers you some days, bother you doesn't. Depends on the weather. Some days you need it, some days you don't. Nice to have around.
Perfect. And if anybody is interested in needing help picking this out, any assistive devices, where would you recommend contacting?
I would contact a physical therapist. We're here all the time in independent healthcare.
And perfect. So if you want to get the information here and contact, you can call Independent Healthcare at 608-274-2097. And it says here, how can someone get additional information ordering devices or other equipment?
Call a physical therapist.
Fantastic. That's right. You can call Independent Living Home Modification Department. We've met those guys a few times and gals. 608-268-9635 or visit independentliving.org to find out more information. So a lot of helpful information, and I know we couldn't demonstrate today. I'm sorry we couldn't do that, but Sandy, I appreciate all the tips and you stopping by.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Perfect. All right, we're going to take a quick break, wrap up the show next, right here on Talking Fitchburg.